Hi everyone and good evening. I'm coming to you live from my house tonight. If you are in the South, I hope that you are staying safe. There has been a bunch of tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, and it was not safe to go to the studio tonight. So I'm coming to you live from my house, so sorry if things are a little wonky and the stream seems a little bit weird, but we'll get started in about 2 minutes or so. So get yourself comfortable. We are going to practice dancer's pose tonight. That is a pose that you might want a strap or a strap-like object, like some tights or tube socks. Anything like that might be helpful for you, especially as we come into it's a little bit of a back bend, a quad stretch, a thigh stretch. And also if you have a wall, maybe using the wall space behind you or in front of you or to the side of you for support as well. But we'll get started in a little less than 2 minutes, but thank you so much for joining. Hi everyone, we'll get started in just about 30 seconds or so. Welcome to Blue Point Yoga's Yoga Basics series. This is class 5 out of 6. It's our free online Yoga Basics program. It might look a little weird tonight. I'm coming to you live from my home. If you live in the South, there have been numerous tornado warnings throughout the Carolinas and throughout the deep South, and so it was not safe for me to travel to the yoga studio tonight. So I'm coming to you live from my other room. So we're going to get started in an easy seated posture. And tonight we're going to play with dancer's pose. Dancer's pose is a quad stretch. It's a back bend. So if you have a strap or a tube sock or ties, anything that you can use to help hold on to your foot, that's what we're going to use tonight. So we're going to get started in an easy seated posture, having your legs crossed or having your legs extended long. And taking a deep breath in. Taking a deep breath out. Maybe closing your eyes or having a soft gaze, looking down towards the floor or the mat. And just begin to tap inward, noticing your breath, noticing your body's natural reactions to your inhales and your exhales. And we're going to take a pranayama that's known as a breath practice. It's breath work to allow ourselves an opportunity to tap inward, to focus in on how the breath can help us feel emotionally, mentally, physically, assist us in relieving some stress that we might be harboring, or maybe if you are especially in North Carolina as the storms are rolling through, maybe you're feeling a sort of tenseness, a sort of tightness. And so this pranayama is called a 3-parts breath. If at any point it becomes too much for you, or if at any point you lose the pattern, that's okay. Just come back to a natural breath and just continue to breathe. So to begin our 3-part breath, we'll take a deep breath in through our noses, seeing if you can keep your lips sealed. And then exhale through the nose. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. On your next inhale, keeping your lips sealed, take an inhale starting to feel it from your pelvis all the way to your belly button. So we're just inhaling a third of the way up. Continue to take an inhale from your belly button to your chest. Feeling the second third of the way up. And then continue to take your breath all the way up through the crown of your head. Pausing when you get to the top. And then take one long exhale. Inhale to your belly. Inhale to your heart. Inhale, feel all the way up to the crown of your head. Pausing when you feel that fullness, that expansiveness on the belly. And then take one long exhale. Again, inhale to your belly. Inhale to your heart. Inhale, fill all the way up. Pause, feel that expansiveness, feel the belly pull out, feel yourself taking up space. And then take one long exhale. Inhale to your belly. Inhale to your heart. Inhale, fill all the way up. Pause at the top. And then take one long exhale. All right, last round. Inhale to your belly. Inhale to your heart. Inhale, fill all the way up. Pausing when you feel that fullness. And then take one long exhale. And then begin to come to your natural breath. Maybe noticing this natural progression of a release, noticing maybe you feel a little lighter. Maybe you feel like you can take fuller, deeper inhales and longer, complete exhales. And when you're ready, begin to flutter your eyes open. And begin to make your way onto hands and knees. We're going to be on the hands and knees for a little while, so if you need any support underneath your knees, feel free to put a blanket or a towel underneath your knees for support. So coming on to hands and knees, our wrists are slightly ahead of our shoulders. We're pressing down through the knuckle ridges of each finger, pressing down through the finger pads, really pressing down through everything except for our wrists. The tops of our feet are pressing back into the mat. And we're going to play around here. We typically do a cat and cow at the beginning of this series, but we're going to do something a little bit different. So, from your tabletop position, Begin to extend your right toes back behind you and just tuck your back toes. So your right toes are tucked. We're still pressing down through our hands. And then shimmy your left knee into about the center of your mat. From here, begin to kickstand your left leg behind you. I'm actually going to turn around so you can see it from this direction. So stepping your right foot back, your right toes are tucked. Draw your left knee in towards the center of your mat in between your hands. And then draw your left leg out so it kickstands back behind you. Begin to draw your left palm in towards the center of your mat. And then begin to open your chest up towards the right side of your room as you spin your right heel down and press down through the knuckle ridges of your left hand. And maybe you open your chest up to the right side of your room. So this is a modified side plank. Maybe you bring your right hand to your right hip. Maybe you begin to draw your right shoulder back, almost like your right and left shoulder could sort of align with one another. If it's okay on your neck, you might begin to look up towards the ceiling. If not, you might just look ahead, or if it's easier to look down towards your left hand, feel free. If you want, you might even begin to lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. So because we're going to play with our dancer's pose tonight, we're going to do a little variation of what's called a candy cane pose, but it's going to be on our knees, just to stretch through our calf muscles and our quadricep muscles and our hamstrings. So basically almost everything on our legs. So pressing down through our left hand, the left hand is still flat on the mat. Begin to shift your weight into your left knee, your left hand, and then begin to lift your right foot off the mat. Now, your right leg and right foot can come as high as you want, but try not to hike your right hip up. There's a lot of weight going forward over the left side, so maybe your right leg isn't lifting up too high, maybe it's just subtle. So you might stay here, flexing through your right foot. If you want, maybe you begin to bend into your right knee, bringing your right heel closer to your bum. And if you want, maybe you take your right hand. I have to sort of do this adjustment so I can reach for my right foot. But maybe if you can reach your right foot, if you have a strap or a strap-like object, you might even use that device to hook around the front of your foot to draw your right heel closer towards your right bum, the right side of your bum. But continue to draw your inner thighs towards one another. Your right shoulder is trying to come towards the center. And if you can't touch your foot, that's okay. The object here is not necessarily to touch your foot, but this activation of reaching your right arm back as your right heel is coming towards your bum. And breathe in and breathe out. If you're holding on to your right foot, you're going to softly release. So when I say soft, I mean really lightly release. We have a tendency to slingshot our foot, so see if maybe you can slightly release, extend your right foot out, and then we're going to put our right foot back down onto the mat, and we're going to spin our right sole of our foot down onto the mat. From here, begin to pull your belly button in towards your spine and come up onto the tips of your left fingers. So we're still in this kickstand posture. You need to draw your inner thighs towards one another. Get light on your left hand and come up, just standing on your left knee. Sole of your right foot is flat into the mat. Imagine that you're rolling into the outer edge of your right foot. So really roll into your right foot. Bring your right hand to your right thigh once you come up. Continuously imagine that you're drawing your inner thighs towards one another. So actively feel the inner thighs pulling in towards your pelvis. And then extend your left arm up towards the ceiling. Take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, we're going to slide our right hand down our right leg as we stretch our left arm up and over towards the right. Keeping your chest open to the front of the room. Breathing in, breathing out. On your inhale, come back to a neutral spine. So we're just shifting our left side back towards neutral. We're going to come back down to the mat. So start to hinge over the left side of your body. Gently guide your left hand down to the mat. We're going to turn our torso, turn our bodies towards the front of our room. And then draw your kickstand of your left leg back in. And you might take a moment, you might draw your right knee to meet your left. You might step out your legs for a little bit. From here, we're going to step our right foot forward. So softly step it forward. If you need to bring it to the outer edge of your right side of your mat, feel free. And we're going to heel toe our right foot. So we're coming towards our low lunge or Anjanae Asana. So drawing your right knee forward as your left hip becomes slightly forward of your left knee. If you want, you might bring your hands to blocks or props. You might walk your hands up to your right thigh. Taking a deep breath in, deep breath out, stretching through our hip flexor of our left leg, our left hip, pressing down through the sole of our right foot. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. On your next inhale, bring your hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, we're going to start to twist our bodies over towards the right. So you're drawing your torso towards the right, and you might start to feel a little bit of this wobbliness going on. Actively imagine you're bringing your inner thighs towards one another. If you need to, you can always tuck your back toes for a little bit more stability, and really press your palms in towards one another. So again, drawing your inner thighs towards one another, palms towards the center, pushing in towards the center. This is allowing this opportunity to keep everything steady in your center of gravity. So we're just twisting off towards the right. If you want, only if you want, you do not have to do this if you don't want to, or if it's too much, just come back up. You might begin to draw your belly towards your right thigh, and you might actively hook your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. And I'll show this from this direction so you can see. So you're taking this fold, you're pressing your left elbow into your right knee. You're still keeping your hands pressed together, palms towards one another. And this drawing of your right shoulder back is going to allow your chest to remain open. So this is a low lunge twist. It can be pretty intense. Recall the breath work we just did, our pranayama. You might even think, okay, inhale through the belly to the chest, to the crown of my head. On your inhale, start to lift your left elbow off your right thigh. Untwist, coming back to neutral. We'll bring our hands down to frame our right foot. And then begin to walk your hands back towards your right hip as you start to straighten through your right leg, straighten through your right knee. Having a gentle bend in your right knee And toes are flexed back towards your shin for a hamstring stretch in our Ardha Hanumanasana, our half monkey pose. So we sort of did a bit of a back bend. If you want to collapse forward over your right thigh, feel free for a forward fold. Breathing in and breathing out. On your next inhale, begin to bring the sole of your right foot flat to the mat, bending into your right knee. And then walk your right knee back to meet your left. Pause here for a moment. We're still on our knees, hands and knees. Pause here. On your inhale, extend your left toes back, left leg back, tucking your 5 left toes. You're going to press down through the fingertips and shift your right knee so it's about center on your mat. Begin to draw your right shin out to kickstand. This is going to keep you relatively stable here. Begin to draw your right hand to the inside, to the center of your mat as you spin your left heel towards the mat. So we're giving ourselves, again, that center of gravity I just referred to, right? So everything's in the center. We're moving our right leg out so you have the space here. Press down through your right fingers, and then start to open your chest up towards the left side of your room. Really roll into the outer edge of your left foot behind you. Really press down through your left foot. It's not just hanging out there. Your left hand might come to your left hip. If it feels good, maybe lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. And your gaze can be wherever is okay on your neck. I just naturally happen to enjoy looking up. That's what I like. You might like looking forward. You might like looking down towards your hand. If you don't know, try. Your body will tell you when it doesn't feel good. Taking just a moment here in our modified side plank before we come towards that candy cane variation. Begin to press down through your right hand. Once again, we're pressing down through our right hand. We're going to shift our body over the right side as we begin to lift our left foot off the mat. And again, you're in control of how high. Just try not to hike it significantly higher than your left hip. Flex through your left toes. Begin to bend into your left knee, drawing your left heel closer to your bum. You might stay here. If you want, you might reach your left hand towards your left foot. Maybe you can grab a hold of it, maybe not. If you are able to grab a hold of it, or if you can put a strap around the front of your foot, you're going to actively press the foot into your hand or into your strap, drawing your left shoulder towards the center of your back as you draw your heel on your left foot closer to the left side of your bum. Breath in. Breath out. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more inhale. One more exhale. If you're holding on to your left foot, softly, very softly, begin to release. Extend your left foot long. And then we'll softly plant our left foot down to the mat. So roll into the outer edge of your left foot behind you. Come up onto your right fingertips. Draw your inner thighs towards one another. Pull your belly button in towards your spine. It's so light on your hands that you begin to lift yourself up onto your right knee. Pressing down through the sole of our left foot. It's so helping us here. You don't realize how incredibly helpful our left foot is for us right now. Slide your left hand to your left thigh as your right arm extends up towards the ceiling. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, stretch your right arm up and over towards the left, continuing to draw your inner thighs towards one another, pressing down through the sole of your left foot. You might start to feel this activation through your left thigh, maybe your right thigh. Keeping your chest open to the side of your room. Take one more inhale. As you exhale, softly come off this lateral stretch and then softly release your right hand down to the mat with control. And then bring your torso so it faces the front of your room. Draw your right knee about hips width distance. And then begin to draw your left knee in towards your chest. And we'll lightly step our left foot forward. So we're coming towards our Anjanae Asana on this side. So heel toeing your left foot forward. So you can have a bit of a forward motion of your right hip. So your right hip forward of your right knee, sole of your left foot flat on the mat. So your hands might be on blocks. If you want, you might start to climb your hands up your left thigh. Take a breath in. I'm going to switch sides so you can see from the other direction for our twist. And to bring your hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, start to twist off towards the left. Breathe in. Breathe out. So you might stay here if you want to take that more twisted twist, more condensed twist, more action in the pelvis, in the thighs. Hopefully, if you're a little wobbly like I am, take a moment to readjust. Come back to your twist. Press your hands towards each other. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, begin to lean forward over your left thigh. This time we're going to bring the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. So we're not pressing onto the left knee. Press your palms together. Actively open up your chest. And breathe. If this is too much, just come off this. There's nothing that says that you have to do this low lunge twist. You can be upright, you can be in this twist, maybe you're just halfway. There's nothing that says that you have to come all the way down here. Slowly unwind. Coming back to neutral. We'll bring our hands down to frame our front foot. Walk your hands back towards your hips as you start to straighten through your left leg. Drawing your left toes towards your left shin. And maybe you collapse forward over your left thigh for your forward fold. Breath in, breath out. Begin to bend into your left knee. Bring the sole of your left foot flat to the mat. We'll bring our hands down to frame our left foot. Tuck our right toes, lift your right knee, and we're going to step our right foot forward to meet our left, coming to standing and our standing forward fold at the top of our mat. If you have a block or prop or mat, I'm sorry, if you have a towel or blanket, words are escaping me right now. If you have a towel or blanket on your mat, move it off your mat to make space. And we'll just collapse over our thighs, maybe having a generous bend. You might shake your head out, yes, no. You might sway softly side to side. Breathe in and breathe out. So over the past 4 weeks, we've been playing more and more with our Surya Namaskar A. And so I thought maybe we would try one tonight and see how we do. We'll do it on the knees, but we'll take a half Sun Salutation first before a full Sun Salutation. So if you're taking movement, come to stillness in your forward fold. On your next inhale, slide your palms up to meet your shins, knees, or thighs as you draw your torso, lengthening forward. So torso is coming out from the pelvis, looking forward, making that L shape with our bodies. As you exhale, begin to forward fold. Inhale, we'll halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. One more time. Inhale, halfway lift. Lengthen your spine. Exhale, forward fold. This time we'll root down through both soles of our feet and then begin to draw your arms out. As you do that, draw your shoulder blades towards one another to help lift you all the way up as your arms extend up overhead. And then exhale your hands down by your side. Stand tall, Tadasana. Breath in. Breath out. On your inhale, bring your arms out and up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, bring your hands down by your side. As soon as they start to get towards your hips, begin to hinge at your hips and come right back down to your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. We're going to put our hands down to the mat and we're going to come into our first downward facing dog. So step your feet back. Lifting your hips, maybe your heels touch the mat, maybe they don't. Check out your hands, make sure your fingers are spread really wide and really press down through the knuckle ridges of each finger. Breath in, breath out. On your inhale, we're going to pull forward to a high plank. We'll lower our knees to the mat, untuck our toes, shift our hips forward so our shoulders come forward of our wrists. Hug your elbows in. We're going to shoot our elbows back behind us, grazing our rib cage as we come all the way down to the mat. Slow and steady. Keeping your elbows tucked in. On your inhale, press the tops of your feet into the mat. And maybe you start to lift your gaze, lift your chest just slightly for a baby cobra. As you exhale, come right back down to your belly. Keep your elbows tucked in, press through your palms, push yourself up into a tabletop position. And then as you exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips, maybe tuck your shirt in, and come back into downward facing dog. Breath in, breath out. On your next inhale, begin to come up onto your tippy toes, bend your knees, look towards your thumbs, and then make your way to the top of your mat, taking a slow walk. Heel toeing your feet forward towards your hands, coming back down to your standing forward fold. Breath in, breath out. On your inhale, we'll halfway lift and lengthen your spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, draw your shoulder blades towards one another as you bring your arms out and up to help rise to stand tall as your arms extend up overhead. And then exhale your hands down by your side. Stand tall, Tadasana. Inhale your arms out and up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, begin to hinge at your hips as soon as your arms reach about hip height and come right back down to your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold right back down to your forward fold. Plant your hands and we'll step our feet back once again to our downward facing dog. Pause here for a moment, breath in, breath out, check your fingers, make sure they're spread nice and wide. On your inhale, pull forward to a high plank. Lower your knees, untuck your toes, press the tops of your feet into the mat. Shift your hips forward, shoulders start to come forward of your wrists, hug your elbows in and slow, I mean really slow. Keep your elbows grazing in. This is where the strength is going to come from when you come to your Flow 2 classes to come through a Chaturanga. Really slowly lower all the way down to your bellies. Try not to flop down with control. Keep your elbows tucked in. Palms are about chest height. On your inhale, come to your baby cobra, lift your gaze, press down through your palms. Exhale, lower back down to your bellies. Keep your elbows tucked in, press through your palms, come up through tabletop. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. On your inhale, bend your knees, look forward towards your thumbs. And then make your way to the top of your mat, coming into your standing forward fold. Taking a breath in. Breath out. On your next inhale, come halfway up to your halfway lift. Exhale, slide right back down. Inhale your arms out and up. As you rise to stand tall, arms extend up overhead. And then exhale, stand tall, Tadasana, mountain pose. Taking a moment here, allowing yourself to catch your breath. So we haven't been doing this posture in my class for this series, but we're going to do it now because we're going to come into dancer's pose. That's going to be our peak pose tonight. You probably have guessed if you've taken the series with me so far that I like to have a peak pose, the ultimate pose that we're trying to go. It's why we are doing the things that we're doing to get there. And the pose that we're going to come to is chair pose, and we haven't done that yet in this series. So if you know chair pose and you have a practice of it, awesome. If you don't have a practice of it, if you have a wall nearby, you might use this as support and you can come towards a wall sit. And so I'll demonstrate what that looks like. But if you're coming into a regular chair pose, we're going to press down through the soles of both feet. We're going to begin to bend into our knees, and we're going to draw our bum back behind us. Now, as we do that, you start to feel this quakiness going on in your quadriceps, your thighs, and actively draw your inner thighs towards one another. So I'm kind of over-exaggerating here, but I'm actively drawing my inner thighs in, and I'm kind of rolling into the inner soles of my feet, so the arches, if you will, and I'm kind of rolling into them so I can have this strength here. Now, if you're in a chair pose and you're coming into chair pose, you can bring your hands to your heart center. Again, that messaging I've been saying all night, the center of gravity, keeping your hands at heart center, pulling your belly in, drawing your thighs in towards one another. This action of everything coming in towards the center is actually going to help keep you stable here. If you want to, You might lift your arms away from your body if you do that. If you're not used to chair pose, that might start to bring in a lot of wobbliness. You can always bring your hands back down to heart center. If you are like, I don't want to do any of this, I really want to come to a wall for support, just walk your back up to a wall and draw your feet out and away from you. Begin to bend into your knees and sit into a wall sit. So it's the same action that we're taking, even in a wall sit, rolling into the inner arches of our feet. So drawing your thighs towards one another, keeping your hands at heart center. If you want to lift your arms up, feel free. It's just people who aren't having a wall don't have the support behind them. So take just a breath or two more. It's not forever. Chair pose is one of those poses that can feel pretty torturous because we get really tired. There's that fire building in our belly as we're trying to focus in on our lower abdominal muscles. Our quads are quaking. Whew. Oh man, there's a lot. You're probably feeling some heat generating. Take one more breath in. And then as you exhale, we'll just stand tall, straighten through your legs, and shake it out. Shake it out. Give yourself a little bit of a wiggle. If you were on the wall, just straighten through your legs, come up off the wall. All right, bring your hands to heart center. We're going to do a couple of standing postures and then we'll come towards our dancer's pose. So we're going to keep our left foot forward, root down through your left foot, and we're going to step our right foot back, but keep your right heel lifted so you're coming to the ball of your right foot. Now, if your heel is not super high, that's okay. It's kind of hard, especially when you're tired. We just held chair pose for a little while. So if you have maybe just a centimeter of your right heel lifted off the mat, that's okay. But we're coming towards what's known as a high lunge. And your hands can stay on your hips. You're breathing in to the left foot in front of you. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Keeping your right heel lifted, bring your hands to heart center. Press your thumbs into your chest. On your inhale, begin to hinge forward over your left foot. As you do that, start to feel that your right toes want to come up off the mat. As you do that, you might start to feel this stretching. Your body is kind of moving forward over your left leg. We're coming towards a warrior three. It's a balance pose. So maybe you're just here. Maybe your right big toe just barely comes off the mat. That's wonderful. That's a beautiful warrior three. You stay there. If you have any other variation, you want to practice that, feel free. But if you're taking a lifted right foot, you're flexing through your right foot regardless of how high you're drawing your right leg up. So we'll just take another breath or two here. Breathe in, balancing. I know this is challenging. And then begin to draw your right foot forward and softly, gracefully press your right foot down. Release your hands from heart center. Give yourself a little bit of a wiggle. We're going to do one more thing on the left side. Then we'll move to the right side and we'll do dancer's pose. So we're going to do one more balance posture. Again, continuing to root down through our left foot. Bring your hands to your hips. Draw your shoulder blades in towards one another so you start to feel your chest open up to the front of your room. Again, we're still rooting down through our left foot. And then begin to lift your right heel, bending into your right knee, and then eventually drawing your right knee in towards your chest. Now you know you've gone too far when you dump all the weight into your left hip. So if you're on your left leg and you're feeling like, oh, I'm really tilted, that's why we're keeping our hands on our hips to help guide our right hip more or less even-ish. Our legs are doing two separate actions, so you can't square your hips. You might hear that a lot in a lot of yoga classes. It's physically impossible to do when your legs are doing two separate actions. If you're standing tall, then your hips can be squared, but because we're lifting our right knee, it can't. Our right hip is naturally higher, but you can use your hands on your hips to sort of be like, oh, okay, this is relatively even-ish. And we're just balancing here. If you have to tap down, tap down. I've tapped down about 4 times already in this posture. And you're flexing through your right foot. and our chest is open and you're breathing. We'll take one more breath in, one more breath out, and then softly release your right foot down and shake it out. All right. Let's do the other side. So bringing your hands to heart center. Notice what's going on the left leg versus what's going on the right. We just stood on that left leg for a little bit. So notice maybe you're starting to feel a little wobbly, a little wonky on the left leg. So just nothing wrong with it. We're just going to see how the right leg does this time. So we're going to keep our right foot forward. Bring your hands to heart center, thumbs embracing your chest. And then we're going to step our left foot back behind us, keeping your left heel lifted. So we're coming towards our high lunge. We're drawing our right knee a little bit forward, more or less over the right ankle. If it's slightly forward or slightly behind, that's okay. Hands still at heart center, and we're still breathing. We're keeping our left heel lifted, and it might be high, it might be low. Mine's probably about an inch or so above the mat because my leg, especially my left leg, because we just did that leg, is shaking really badly to the point where I'm using a wall to keep me steady here so I can turn towards the camera and talk to you. But so it's that using that support that you've got of I'm rooting down through my right foot. I've got my wall if I need it. I can bring my hands to my hips or my hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more inhale. As you exhale, we're going to begin to lean halfway over our right thigh. So our chest is coming forward so much so that you become light over you lift the left toes. And maybe you start to hinge forward for your warrior three. And again, it doesn't matter how high your left leg lifts. You can have your big toe, maybe about an inch or so off the mat. That's a beautiful warrior three. This is a beautiful warrior three. This is a beautiful airplane variation of warrior three, and so is this. So anything in between that you need for your body, we're just balancing here. Balancing on the right foot. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then softly draw your left knee in, releasing your left foot to the mat. Shake it out for a moment. Bring your hands to your hips. We're going to play with that balance posture on our right leg once again. Rooting down through our right foot. Begin to bend into your left knee, drawing your left heel up. So the left heel is lifted. We're balancing onto the ball of our left foot, just trying to get our equilibrium here. Then begin to draw your left knee in towards your chest. Again, we don't want to dump into the standing hip, so that would be the right hip this time. So if you're dumping into the standing hip, use your hands to gently draw your left hip back down. Flex through your left toes and breathe. Inhale and exhale. You'll know that you'll need to tap down. If you start to forward fold, keep your chest open. We're still opening up to the front of the room, and there's nothing wrong with tapping down. Again, I said this on the first side. I've had to tap down 2 or 3 times already on this side. So if you have to, just tap down and come right back up. There's something within yogi that when you're practicing and you can sort of feel that sensation, feel that that thing that starts to come over you, like, oh, this is actually not feeling good. I need to tap down. I need to reset. Then you can come back up. There's strength in knowing that versus holding your breath and maintaining a balance that's not really helpful. So trying to find that balance of when is it too much? When do I need to come down? We'll take one more breath if you're still lifted. And then release your foot down and shake it out. All right. So we're going to play with our dancer's pose. So if you have a strap, and somehow I've lost mine, I think my blanket is on top of it. Yes, it is. Okay. If you have a strap, I'm going to guide you through on how to use it without a strap. If you practice dancer's pose and you know that you don't need a strap, feel free to just come into it however you'd like. If you have never practiced dancer's pose and you don't have a strap, especially if you don't have a strap, come near a wall and I'll walk you through the variations. So we're going to start by balancing on our left leg. I keep turning back and forth because I want to show you from the right direction. So we're going to start by balancing on our left foot. So rooting down, imagine that you're solid through your left foot. We're going to bend into our right knee, lifting our right heel. And then we begin to, rather than draw your knee up, we're actually going to keep our leg back. You're going to bend into your knee, your right knee, and draw your right heel towards your bum. Doesn't this look familiar? We just did this about 40 minutes ago with our left knee down on the mat. This is our candy cane sort of variation, except for we were opening up to the side. So your left foot is down, you're drawing your right heel towards your bum. If you have a strap, this is, or a strap-like object, this is the opportunity when your foot is bent, your knees bent back. You're gonna hook your strap around the top of your right foot. And you're going to keep your right elbow tucked in towards your rib cage. And then you're going to continue to keep your inner thighs drawing towards one another. And then maybe you start to lift your right elbow up towards the ceiling. And so this is a dancer's pose. And you might draw your left arm back to reach for your strap. And it's this activation, remember I said this when we were down on our knees, of kicking the foot behind us. So this activation of pushing, kicking our right foot into our strap. If you are using just your hand, I can show you how you do it with your hand. So you're pushing, you're kicking your right foot into your right hand. And then if you want, you can hinge forward. If you're like, Casey, this is crazy, I don't know what you're doing, bring your left hand to a wall and then bend into your right knee. Continuously draw your inner thighs towards one another. You might reach back for your right foot. And again, you saw I have to kind of like maneuver myself a little bit. I start to dump my weight into my left hip, but draw your inner thighs back towards one another. And again, this activation of kicking your right foot into your right hand behind you is what's going to help you to lean forward. So again, we're doing that quad stretch on our right leg. Take another breath in. Take another breath out. Take one more inhale. One more exhale. And when you are ready, slowly, if you are forward, if you're coming that halfway forward tilt, start to come back up towards a neutral spine. Softly, very softly, gracefully, release your foot from the strap and tap your right foot down and really shake out your left leg. And then we'll move on to the other side. So we're going to root down through our right foot this time. Again, I'll show you with a strap. If you know how to practice this without a strap, feel free. If you need a wall, you're going to bring your right side, your right arm towards the wall for support. Again, I'll walk you through with a strap. So rooting down through your right foot this time. We're going to start to bend into our left knee, lifting our left heel off the mat. Begin to draw your left heel towards the left part of your bum. And this is an opportunity for you, if you have a strap, to hook your strap around the ball of your foot towards the top of your left foot and hug your left elbow into the left side of your rib cage. You're going to begin to draw your inner thighs towards one another and actively draw your left leg behind you as you start to lift your left elbow up towards the ceiling. If you have a strap, you might start to reach back with your right hand and actively press your left foot into your strap and maybe begin to hinge and fold over your right leg. If you do not have a strap, again, you can practice this without a strap. You might start to reach back for your left foot, left leg. Draw your inner thighs towards one another, and again, that activation of kicking back, That's what leans you forward. You can always bring your hand to the wall and breathe. Take just another breath or two. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. If you're leaning forward, come back up to neutral first, and then gently and gracefully release your left foot. Shake it out, put your strap to the side. On your inhale, bring your arms out and up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, we're going to hinge and fold, coming right back down to our forward fold. Inhale, come to your halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bring your hands down to the mat. We're going to step our knees back. And then we're just going to sit up on our heels for just a moment. If you need to sit up on a block or a blanket, feel free. And just walk your hands out towards your thighs. You're going to draw your right arm in front of you. Take your left hand around your right elbow and actively draw your right arm across your chest towards the left. Softly release. And then draw your left arm forward, take your right arm, bring it your right hand to your left elbow, and gently guide your arm across the right side of your body. And breathe. Begin to release your hands. And then come to a seated posture. We're going to do one last stretch before we make our way down towards the mat. Begin to bring the soles of your feet together. Have your knees spread wide into a Badaknasana Hip Opening stretch. If you need support underneath your knees, feel free to put some towels or blankets or blocks, pillows. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. If you want, you might just stay upright. This might be enough on the inner thighs. It might be enough on the outer hips. If you want, maybe begin to start to draw your torso forward. You might come to this halfway, sort of pulling out of the pelvis, drawing that like halfway lift that we've been doing in our Ardha Surya Namaskar, half Sun Salutation. Or if you want, you might just begin to hinge and fold completely. As we start to slow down our practice, noticing maybe can you take a couple of extra longer exhales, stretching into your hips, into your inner thighs, into your low back. On your inhale, start to walk your fingers back towards your pelvis. Come to an upright posture. And then we're just going to take an easy spinal twist off to the right. So maybe bringing your left hand to your right knee. Your right fingertips might come slightly behind you. I'm fairly close to the wall, so I'm just going to scooch a little bit. And it's kind of awkward to do this twist in our Badaknasana leg, so maybe you don't go quite as deeply as you might typically do in another class. We're still giving a little bit of extra love to our hips right now, but we're just doing a spinal twist off to the right. On your inhale, slowly come back towards center. And then as you exhale, we're going to twist off to the left. And slowly start to draw your torso to neutral. And our next posture is going to be Shavasana. So if you want to take your Shavasana on your back, begin to make your way slowly onto your back. If you want to take a traditional corpse pose, you might draw your legs long on the mat towards the outer edges of your mat. If you want to take a seated meditation with me, you can feel free. We'll just spend a couple of minutes allowing ourselves to relish in this quiet stillness, allowing our breath to just flow in and out. Eyes can be closed or gaze is soft, and just simply be. Slowly allow your breath to deepen and begin to introduce small movements by wiggling through your fingers and your toes. Maybe begin to circle through your wrists and your ankles. If it feels good, you might softly turn your head in a no motion, side to side. And if you'd like, you might even extend your arms up overhead as if you just got to have a really nice nap. Albeit short, but maybe it was just what you needed. And when you're ready, begin to hug both knees in towards your chest. And roll on to one side, pausing in your fetal posture for just a moment. Keeping your eyes closed, your gaze soft, begin to press yourself up into a seated position, bringing your hands to heart center once you get there. Thank you all for practicing with me. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. With gratitude, namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. And I hope that you have a great evening and that you stay safe if you're in the south with the tornadic weather activities that are going on. We'll be back next week. Next Thursday, March 25th, will be our last free online yoga basics class of this series. I hope you'll join us. And if you would like to become a member to Blue Point Yoga, we're at bluepointyoga.com and use the code Yoga Basics if you're not already a member to get 20% off. Thank you so much. Have a great night.